Well, Taoiseach, this is quite the fiasco, and in a very depressing way serves to underscore the unhealthy and inappropriate relationships within what I would classify as the insider class in this state. Cosy dining relationships between very influential, very wealthy people and senior politicians, and then those same people bid for contracts, for business, and the relationships unfold. I mean, we've had tribunal after tribunal to demonstrate the toxicity of those kinds of relationships, and yet they prevail. You said today that you feel a sense of compassion for Denis Naughton, and I understand that on a human level, but the real casualty here is in the first instance those 542,000 households that still await this fabled broadband, and secondly the process itself, because you have conceded that the process may well be compromised. You'll ask Peter Smith to carry out a review. Can I suggest to you that, given that the Minister had repeated dining engagements with Mr McCourt, I don't think there's any doubt but that the process has been compromised. It's now simply a question of degree. And here's the terrible vista, and of course due process will be observed. Your review will be carried out. But here's the terrible vista. The terrible vista under your watch is that your minister's relationship with this sole standing remaining bidder may actually have compromised the whole enterprise and set the clock back to zero again. That's profoundly shocking. Can I ask you about Pat Breen? Because you mentioned that he was also party to these arrangements. He is, I still understand, a Minister of State, a junior minister. Can you confirm that, Taoiseach? Have you spoken with him? What is the situation as regards Pat Breen? Minister Naughton is gone.
There's no provision, Deputy, can I just point out to you?
Well, then if I might pose the question, and the Taoiseach might avail of the earliest opportunity to answer. There was no option but for Minister Naughton to either walk or to be told to leave. I think that much is clear. But there's still a question around Minister Breen. In fact, there's a question at this stage, Taoiseach, around your whole administration, which day by day becomes more raggedy at the edges. So I want to know what's happening with Minister Breen, and I want to know at what stage will this Peter Smith review process be concluded. And finally, to say to you, Taoiseach, you may have made the right decision after the midnight call from Denis Naughton, but let's be very clear, that very cosy nudge and wink politics between the Irish political establishment and very wealthy people is clearly alive and well.